Now we're going to bring in Tamara Shoemaker. So Tamara has many titles, but one of them is she's the director of the Cyber Patriot program here in Michigan, which is aimed at young grade school kids, trying to get them interested in cyber professional careers. Is that correct, Tamara?
So we go from from elementary school all the way through high school. And so, we've been doing some interesting. This summer we did do some interesting stuff in the elementary school, and it was a wonderful year for that kind of thing.
Okay.
It's teaching through competition. In the beginning, it's just awareness things, and the kids in K through 5 get to play video games and just have fun, and they're learning cybersecurity principles. They're learning how to protect themselves. And then we start in middle school and in high school, then we do competitions. And they actually are competing with thousands of kids across the country on a monthly basis. From the security of their own place, it's all virtual. So when we had to all go all virtual, that was seamless to be able to do Cyber Patriot. A little more difficult than our summer camps than the regular season, and we had a pretty successful summer camp. We were only able to serve half the kids that we normally are able to serve, just because of all of the stress that our students and our teachers and just in general they had all year of a whole year of online teaching, and so that was difficult. We had less venues than we normally had, but we did have 9 venues across the state, and we had a couple of virtual ones as well. And so it was very successful of a season. And we are growing all the time. In fact, Cyber Patriot is growing all the time. And they have some new things happening with us, and we're pretty excited about the 14th season this year.
Okay. So now, is the summer program pretty much wrapping up now? And if so, what's next?
Yes, it is, thankfully. I mean, I love it. And I got to tell you that, being face to face with these kids, and especially these elementary kids, oh my gosh, they were so amazing, Mike. I was so surprised at the things they already know how to do, and all the things that they're inquisitive about. And so giving them the proper tools to do it safely was real important. And so I'm real happy to be doing it in that group, in that age group as well. And we'll be continuing to do more of that, as the years go by in the elementary, so we can kind of get them ready, because they're actually, again, I'm working with the middle school and high school kids all the time, and so I see what kind of skills they have. But I was surprised when we were working with fourth and fifth graders this year, and their skill set was equal to many of our high school kids. I mean, I was just couldn't believe it. And so they're truly monkeying with stuff. I mean, just like with my grandkids all the time, they're always pushing buttons, right? They're always exploring. And and then they had a year here of virtual school. So they're used to this virtual, existence. And they're comfortable with it because it's not something strange to them, because they haven't been quite so long without it, right? Like we all had to kind of learn and still are trying to find our mute button and trying to, make sure everything works right on our Teams meetings and our Zoom meetings and stuff. These kids are just naturals. And so being able to be working with them and teaching them these things about operating system and how to keep themselves, secure online, and how to do networks and secure their home networks, as well as, other things. It's real important we get to that, and we get to it right away. And as Doug up north was stating, the openings of jobs are that's not getting any smaller, right? And we just can't get enough kids in the pipeline, and so we must start earlier. And so it's fun to work with these kids.
Yeah, it's really a generational thing because, as you know, I'm also on the Internet Advisor on WJR, and that's more of a program for, I have to be gentle how I say this, but since I'm a grandparent, for older people that really don't understand computers. You have Cal Carson and Gary Baker and Ed Riddell on that show, and then I come in and do news. But they always bring me in like 5 minutes early, so I sit there and listen to what's being said, and it's really basic stuff because the baby boomers didn't grow up with this technology, but the kids, as you say, it seems like each generation is so much smarter or technologically savvy than the previous generation, right?
Yeah, it's scary how much they are, right? And so part of the thing is we have to be really careful to keep up with them and make sure that we're giving them the tools that they need when they need them, not later, right? Not too late in their life, so that they get into trouble. I mean, you guys were just talking about, the policies with the sexual problems that people are having with young people, and things that they're oversharing and things that they're doing and could get them into some major trouble. They don't understand all of this. They don't, well, they can use the technology. They don't necessarily know how to protect themselves. They don't necessarily know how to keep themselves safe. And in the other piece of that, right? For them, it's a tool, right? It's like a television. It's like, the refrigerator, you just use it. And so until you show them how it works and that, you put something out there and it's there forever, and, those kinds of things, they just don't know about that kind of stuff. So they're using it, but they don't necessarily know how to safely do that.
Yeah, I'm just amazed sometimes what I see people sharing. I guess that's just not my generation or my inclination to share every blessed thing about my life online. Uh, and it's something. But yeah, certainly that can be an issue because they may think it's really cool to share naughty pictures with each other, and it's not really. It's
No.
against the law, right?
Right, right. And but they just aren't aware, right? And so we really have to work with them. I am been very fortunate that we're working with a lot of school districts across the state. People are really hungry for the information. So that part's really exciting. They are actually asking for it. When I first started in 2015 on this, I kind of had to explain to them what some of this stuff is. After a year of being online school, they get it, right? Because they've got to see even, just even, things going on in the background while they're teaching kids, right? And things like that. They weren't aware of all of that stuff. And now they're starting to pay attention to, oh, this is being broadcast to a whole bunches of people. And, I heard my granddaughter once say she was taking a picture and she said, oh, maybe I'll be famous. And it's like, or infamous, I mean,
Or notorious, or yes.
you really have to make sure they understand. And then I'm really excited about the Cyber Patriot program. This year they have a new program and a couple of new programs actually which are really helping me. One is they have a new demo. So one of my thing that's really difficult that is to be able to show people how this competition works, right? Because it's computer stuff, It's like, you see it on TV and they go click, click, click on their keyboard and suddenly I'm in, I just hacked somebody. And it's like, yeah, well, we didn't see anything. We saw you clicking on a keyboard. So now this demo, I can actually, and anyone who wants to have it can download it from the AFA website and they can actually see what the competition looks like and feel what it feels like. They can play it. They can see. And so that's a really cool thing that we've got now added to our thing. And then the other thing, they've had a thing, a program called Cyber Generations. And again, that's for we have to be careful how we talk about that, but our senior citizens and folks that maybe don't know as much as they should about, they also are trying to use this stuff as keeping track with their family and, keeping in touch, but they don't necessarily know how to protect themselves. So they've had this Cyber Generations program up for a while, but what they've done now is they've added it. They've added a level that I think will help keep it moving, where they have tech caregivers, is what they call it, certifications. So you can go in, you can learn all the materials, you can take a test, and then you then can become a teacher for senior citizens. So you can then go to senior citizen homes and you can start letting people know, what's good behavior, what's not good behavior, how to keep yourself safe as a senior citizen, right? So if they're doing their banking or if they're, visiting with their family, they know that, how to keep themselves safe. And so I was real excited that they came up with that. And so it's one of the things I'm looking forward to. But I'd love to tell you that I about my new opportunity in general with my sort of paying gig, right? So
Well, I was
several
going to ask you, gosh, I've heard you have a new job. Tell me
I
all about
have.
that.
So, Cyber Patriot Peace is an all volunteer kind of thing, and it's a charity that I work for, and I just love it, right? And I'm not leaving into that at all. That'll still be my side gig and the thing that I work with and that my heart is in. But I've got a new position, and so I'm going to be working for the Auto Information Sharing Analysis Center, which everyone thinks of as the Auto-ISAC. It's a new position that they've just made, and I will be the automotive cybersecurity training leader. So I'm excited about this opportunity. After being with the UDM for 17 years and having several different roles, over that 17 years with them, I'm excited for this new challenge. It's very exciting. Um, Again, like I said, I'm not going to be leaving Cyber Patriot, but I'm going to be able to. It's just as important to the automotive industry that the kids are involved and we get more people in the pipeline. It is to all the industries. So, but I'm excited about this new challenge. I'll be working with all of their cybersecurity training, education, and awareness for the Auto-ISAC programs. I'll be doing a lot of committee work, supporting their long-term strategy while addressing current risks. So I'm pretty psyched about this.
Well, certainly with connected vehicles, if you connect a vehicle on the internet or through the data service of your phone or whatever Wi-Fi you're using or anything that connects all that, the bad guys can also connect too, right?
Absolutely, and it's very much in their minds. And the National Transportation, let me see here, the National Highway Safety and Traffic Control Administration. Sorry, I've got that all messed up. So it's the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is very important to them as well. And so I'm going to be working on a really big project with them at the Auto-ISAC. So yeah, they realize, right, and especially with autonomous vehicles coming on board and all the other kind of things right now, we have hundreds of different components that are speaking to each other, via internet, via the CAN bus. I mean, all of that stuff is all in there. And so yeah, the auto industry is very cognizant of the fact that cybersecurity is really, really important for them.
Yeah, and it seems like the very best people in cybersecurity are the black hats, the bad people who are doing it for the money. And there's a lot of money to be made. Look at just the ransomware attacks alone, right?
Right.
So, in fact, that was the thesis of Richard Marr's book in 2011, that the whole idea was that they hired the best, and the best were working for the bad people. So,
Right.
yeah, they're very sophisticated. So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for you.
Well, I mean, and that's why I'm hoping that, bringing all of my education background, right, and starting with the kid, starting with the kids, working them through the system, having them go to the colleges, having them go to universities, getting their doctorates, we're actually training a whole bunch of, more, like you said, new generations, right, to do this differently and to do it right, and to be, hopefully we're baking in, integrity and honesty and ethics and, social, morals and things like that right now, right? Rather than having to take those people who are doing bad things and just give them more money to not do the bad things.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can have generations now that are coming out and they're aware of all of this and they know that it's wrong. And that they know that people in their own family have been victimized and things are not, that that's just not the way to do it. That you want to be a part of the people who are protecting rather than the folks that are the bad guys.
Yeah, and certainly going into cybersecurity is very lucrative. I mean, some of these kids start out making $100,000 a year after they get all their various college level certifications. So, I mean, that's something to really take a look at. If and everybody around the world is desperate to get these people hired because it's such a hot area, right?
Absolutely. Like you were saying, like, there's always what, 450,000 jobs open in the United States alone. That's just the United States, right? And so that's a lot of open jobs, that need to be filled. And right, you're right, so the sky is the limit on your salaries, right? Depending on how many, certs you have, how much education you have, how much experience you have. You really can write your own ticket. So yes, it's very good. I mean, and when you're talking to middle school and high school kids about this career field, this not a hard sell, right? I just have to make sure that they understand in a holistic way that it's not just ones and zeros. It's not just comp sci. It's not just, coding and that kind of thing. That there's a whole gamut of jobs that are cybersecurity jobs. But the things that are very all across are things like, do you have a good record? Have you done bad stuff in the before, right? Did you overshare when you were a kid on Facebook and show yourself with gang signs and 40s and doing all kinds of goofy things that were not appropriate? Were you bullying some people? And then there's records of that and all that kind of good stuff. So these are all important things for kids to know early on, right? You
Yeah,
know,
once you get something on the internet, it's always on the internet.
Correct. I mean, and we're seeing that in so many other levels now. Things that are coming up from people when they were crazy people in college doing stupid stuff, and and now that's being brought into their adult career, right? They may have been in the field for 20, 30 years, and suddenly something comes up from their past. And so, yeah, these kids are on 24/7. So
Yeah.
you better believe they're doing some embarrassing things that when they look back as adults, they're not going to be too happy about that they overshared.
Yeah, well, some studies I've shown that I've read actually say that the human brain doesn't fully develop until you're 24, 25. And having been a young person myself and seeing what these young people are doing, I can pretty much believe that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. But they've got different tools than we did, right? We went outside, we hung out, right? These guys have the world, the globe, right at their fingertips. And
yeah.
so they can get into some, sticky situations. And I'm hoping that all the work that we're all doing together will make sure that that doesn't happen.
All right, we're going to leave it at that note now. If and of course, you're always looking for folks to work with you at
Absolutely.
Cyber Patriot. I want to talk a little bit about that real quick before we sign off. Go ahead.
Sure, I'm always looking for professionals, right? So that's why I'm loving fact that I'm on Mike's show here. We always need professionals to help be mentors, right? This doesn't mean that you have to completely wrangle these kids on these teams, but we really need your professionalism to be able to come down and help the teachers. And so if you could go to our website, www.micyberpatriot.com, and let me know that you'd like to volunteer. This is a national program. It goes from November until April, and it's all virtual. So you could be virtual as well too, but you could be helping us with this fight against keeping kids safe and educated in this space.